54 years since President JFK's famed civil rights speech, the night after Governor George Wallace tried to block the integration of the University of Alabama.
We are confronted primarily with a moral issue. It is as old as the Scriptures and is as clear as the American Constitution. The heart of the question is whether all Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunities, whether we are going to treat our fellow Americans as we want to be treated.
As I'm sure you know, Kennedy would have turned 100 years old a couple of weeks ago. And to mark the centennial, the JFK Library and Museum has opened a new exhibit featuring artifacts never before put on view. Arts editor Jared Bowen took a tour alongside historian David McCullough.
His words changed the lives of thousands of us at the time. When he said, "We will go to the moon," and we knew we would. And he said, "We're not going to do this because it's easy. We're going to do it because it's hard." I thought, yes, that's what we want to hear.
JFK at 100 offers a trove of never-before-seen artifacts that curator Stacy Bredhoff hopes makes Kennedy less monument and more man.
We see a picture of him kind of fully formed, perfectly polished, sophisticated, but here we see all the steps along the way.
A rabble-rouser at Choate, his private high school, he founded a club called the Muckrakers. Privately, though, he was prone to introspection. Kennedy would grow into the young man we see here, crisscrossing the Far East and seeing the world for himself to lay the groundwork for a future Senate bid.
You go around the corner and you see this cabinet room chair, and it just reflects all the dignity and majesty of the office that he so revered.
Here, though, is the private president, a collection of Kennedy's most personal effects. His ties, sunglasses, and cufflinks, presidential pencils that still bear his teeth marks, and an assemblage of treasured family photographs.
There's a really sweet one of Caroline kind of peering up from the bassinet, and that was the actual picture that he had in the Oval Office.
It's a show that zooms from the austere, Kennedy's Inauguration Day hat and glove, to the comical, garden gnomes depicting JFK and Nikita Khrushchev. But the exhibition closes with the same abruptness his life did. For the first time ever, the library and museum is displaying the speech cards the president was to have used in Dallas.
A lot of that speech is kind of a summary of his achievements in his administration, the things he set out to do.
So interesting that day was about moving forward.
Yes. He campaigned in 1960 on the idea that America needed to build strength in many areas.
One of the most fascinating things about his speeches and his dialogue is he almost never talked about himself. Now that seems unheard of in our particular moment in time. He knew the power of words, the enduring effect that words can have. And that words matter. Words can move people, as he did so often.
Jared Bowen, WGBH News.
The JFK 100 exhibit will be on display at the Presidential Library and Museum through May of next year. And you can see much more about it, including details from the curator and more insights from David McCullough. That's tomorrow night on Open Studio with Jared Bowen at 8:30.